Hi and welcome. I'm Steve Parish. I'm the judge of the open category and also the kangaroos in care category for World Kangaroo Day 2022 photographic competition. This is my second year and I've created this video to make the presentation and maybe throw in a few tips for you guys to improve your photography. Not that we didn't get lots of stunning entries again, and I've picked about 15 that I'm going to run through, and then finally I'm going to introduce you to the winners. So let's just discuss first of all what we've got here in Australia is 51 species of macropods. Macropods refer to all the small wallabies and the kangaroos. It's a generalised word. It's part of the taxonomic classification. Here are the portraits of 25 species that I've actually photographed. I've actually got it up to about 48 in total over many decades of photographing and being very, very, very committed to the natural history and the conservation of these wonderful creatures. So this is a panel, and of course you can Google your heart's content on macropods and learn an awful lot about these wonderful creatures. Now, my judging criteria is based on the work that I've done. I've been photographing for 56 years, and I sit down in front of a computer and judge and critique and prepare my own files. I'm very harsh, in fact, when I look at my own images. And these are the three categories that I actually look for in a competition such as this. So I'm looking for a strong sense of place, a high level of mood, and a high level of image design. So what do I actually mean by that? So you can see this red kangaroo pounding across Western Queensland. Lots of room, you can see it's in the grasslands. It's got its place to be. You can see there's space behind the animal, there's space in front of it. So that gives a lovely sense of where this particular species of kangaroo lives. And of course, if we're dealing with tree kangaroos, we want to photograph them up trees. Burrowing kangaroos, the bettongs, we can photograph those, in fact, at night in some of the conservation reserves. And so it's very important, I think, to try and get your animals in a nice sense of place, their natural habitat. And of course, the other very important area is mood. And you can see here weather, light, time of day and seasonality all play elements in this particular area. As you can see here, this is a lovely image of Cape Hillsborough, two grey kangaroos having a bit of a tussle on the beach. It's not a serious fight. They are adult, but it's just a bit of a play box. There wasn't a lot of spit and spittle going on in this particular shot, but you can see early in the morning that lovely golden light. You can see how your eye goes straight to it. Very strong, very dramatic. And of course, staying with that same image, we look at the design. And here we look at principles and elements. I'm going to flick to another image in a minute and just introduce you to what the principles and elements are. These are the things that are very basic in all art and design. But you can see in this case, we've got a foreground, a middle ground. Of course, the middle ground is the kangaroos in silhouette. And we've got a lovely background. So the eye's wandering through the picture and the surrounds of the picture, very, very important. And one of the things that most wildlife photographers, particularly when they're new to the game, fail to observe, and that is what else is in the frame around the kangaroo. We don't want posts and, elements of people's legs in the background. We just need a lovely clean. So what I do is I focus on the animal and then I run my eye around the composition, and then I might choose then to change my viewpoint to remove unsightly elements. So you can see here on the left we've got design principles and elements. This I don't want to bore you with all of the details here, but these are the sorts of criteria. In terms of design, we've got balance, we've got pattern, we've got emphasis, we've got movement, we've got rhythm. These are things that if you're very interested in photography, you can research, and you can research them online. You can do my online course, or there are many books on photography that deal with design principles and elements. So let's jump into the open category and look at some of the gorgeous contributions that we've had right across Australia, in fact some of them globally. This really took my fancy. I love the background, I love the foreground, I love the short depth of field, and the composition is absolutely gorgeous. You can see here 1/3 into the frame, absolutely gorgeous. A lovely focus on the animal, and of course what's happening here, he's titled it, Jason Moore's titled it Air Guitar Roo, and of course he's not playing a guitar, just a bit of a fun thing. What's actually happening there is the kangaroo is licking its forearm, and they often do that. It may be an itch, they'll do some nibbling, or it can be licking the forearm in terms of the veins. That helps cool the animal. You'll often see an animal that's been stressed or run a long distance. When it stops, it might lick its forearms. So that's part of the behaviour. So that really encapsulates that gorgeous shot. That's a sub-adult grey kangaroo. Absolutely love Di Downey's mama and baby kanga conservation. Beautiful exposure. She's obviously done a bit of post-production, which is great. So we've got great detail, but it's the composition, the lovely composition here and the lovely soft background. So the eye goes immediately to the animal. And what I love particularly about this picture is the exchange between probably a yearling and a female. So that's a lovely connection between two eastern grey kangaroos. Brendan Attard, who was the winner of last year's competition. Brendan Attard's A Mother's Love. I thought that was a stunning image. Brendan's got a particular style of both photography and post-production. You might Google his name and have a close look at his work. He's fairly restricted in where he photographs, and he does a lot of work locally. And it really caught my eye. His work is really becoming quite iconic. But I love that composition and I love the exchange. And I think the thing that makes it, and I think you'll agree with me, that the whole of the surround is fairly subdued. So the eye is going directly, I don't know where your eye goes, but my eye goes directly to the mother, that beautiful orange eye, and then down to the baby and that lovely arm wrapping and the joey connecting with its mum. Beautiful image. Again with Brendan Attard, Hugs. That's a lovely composition as well. A little bit of play boxing, a little bit of interaction there. Looks like a male and a female. I'm not sure exactly. Could be two males. They're certainly within the mob. He may well be the alpha. But again, the colours, the beautiful yellow foreground and the beautiful blotch background, there's nothing to distract the eye from the animals themselves. That's an absolute stunner, isn't it? Brendan Attard again, I am alpha. a statement in the rain. Absolutely love it. And you can see here he's absolutely nailed it in terms of both composition. I love the central positioning of the animal. And of course the mood, the rain, the subdued lighting, very dramatic image. Again with Brendan, Let's Dance. A little bit of play boxing here. I don't know about the dancing. A little bit soft on the left-hand side, but nonetheless, sometimes the eye, the image can be forgiven somewhat. I've got soft images, and of course what we've got today is a technology that can actually sharpen up our images. David Alexander, Eastern Grey Kangaroo family with a big male standing guard. That's very much a small mob there. There might be other animals in the mob. I'm sure there might be. We've got two beautifully sharp images. These two a little bit on the soft side. That's not a technical fault at all. It puts more focus on the central feature of the big boy. And there he is standing proud with all his gooblies. And the young sub-adult there on the right. Again, we've got some rain falling, which is wonderful to see you guys out there in the rain. David Hanvey just woke up, the little Joey. I love the striation of colours here. We can see the lovely purple, and again this lovely colour here. This really adds, the eye isn't distracted towards it, but it really does add to the picture. And lovely focus, the front paws hanging down and the little bubba just waking up. Dominic Zhang, the iconic jump. That looks like a eastern grey kangaroo again. And a little bit more space would have given it a bit of room, but nonetheless it's gorgeous. And we've got these lovely trees, lovely and soft in the background. So the colour palette in that particular image is really very appealing. I think you'll agree. Suzumi sizing up. You can see here a male, a couple of males sizing up with a witnessing presence in the middle. Lovely composition. The way the trees moving through the image in terms of composition. Obviously a fairly cool morning. We've got the breath mist. Lovely composition, Suzumi, lovely composition. And again, Suzumi, this is titled Chewing Up. Wonderful image, wonderful image. And the winner for open category is Roll the Drums. Alice Mars breaking the peace of the morning light. Absolutely love that picture. I love it for its spaciousness. I love it for its colour palette. I love the way the light's falling. You see this lovely striation of light through here. The palette's absolutely beautiful, which is bringing the eye immediately to what's happening in the picture. We've got a couple of boys having a bit of a play up here. And we've got a witness, we've got a mum and a bub, and they're interacting. That is obviously, to me, probably an inlet running into the sea. It may or may not be brackish, but right around Australia, eastern, western grey kangaroos, agile wallabies, you'll find often on beaches. So congratulations to Alice Marr. And the category for kangaroos in care, we decided this year to actually divide the categories so that we had an opportunity to celebrate the carers and those that are raising joeys that have been left beside the road through roadkills and mothers abandoning their young. And so these people are doing a magnificent job for the conservation of kangaroos. So this is Julie Knight's Pinky's Second Chance. Love that, love the colour palette, the hand around the animal and that lovely connection with this gorgeous little animal starting out on its life. Emily Wells, Young and Old, I absolutely adore this picture, and I've visited, my wife is actually a possum carer, has been for a very long time. I have very dear friends, bat carers, possum carers, kangaroo carers right around Australia. There's a tremendous amount of work being done by these people. And it's the backstory to this is that Emily Wells is a nurse, and she had taken these two joeys to share with people in a care home. And I think that's absolutely wonderful. I think the physical touching and connection, and of course, you know, animals in care that would be released, it's better to keep this to a minimum so that they're not too familiar with people. But in many circumstances, these animals are being raised and finish up in sanctuaries. So it's not that important that the physical handling and the physical human connection is totally eradicated. And just continuing from that story, which I thought was a lovely little story, is the joeys. There was actually two in that pouch, being hand raised and then finishing up down here on the right as big boys, ready to rock and roll. So they look like Western grey kangaroos to me, brown and very furry. Kate Greaves, Mama's Love, that's a lovely connection. I love that. That is a very important thing to do. In fact, my entire career started off with a connection with a lion in the Adelaide Zoo way back in the 50s. Not that pretty a place in those days, but the physical connection with an animal can have a major effect on our mental health, and I think that's very important. Diane Lane, 3 in bed. There's a couple of swampies here, and this looks like a redneck wallaby to me, being raised, and yeah, wonderful to have those in your life during that period. Claire Smith, my big baby boy Hercules, doing a bit of thumb sucking. Lovely, lovely image. And Alice Reddington, the kangaroo serenade. I love this picture. That's an animal in care. That looks like a sub-adult grey kangaroo, possibly a Western. And of course the winner for kangaroos in care is, roll the drums, it's Julie Knight. A lifetime of dedication and care from Western Australia. I know many, many carers that have reached these grand old ages. I mean, I'm 72, so I've got to be fairly light on here. Women in their 80s and even early 90s that are still caring for these wonderful animals. And of course, it brings so much joy. I'm actually a bit of an advocate for getting rid of all the cats and maybe having a few kangaroos in the backyard. I think the connection with these animals, and that's why I'm a huge supporter of fauna parks in Australia, particularly now, where there's beauty education programs going on, and there's opportunities for young and old to actually have physical connection with these wonderful animals, and that can bond us to caring about these wonderful creatures for the rest of our lives. So congratulations, Julie Knight and Alice Marr, for breaking the peace of the morning light, for being winners. And you will both receive my masterclass and a connection, lifetime connection to Photography: A Pathway to Purpose, which looks at all of the elements, all the way from developing creative life to projects, the art of seeing art, through to all the capture techniques, even phones, dare I say. I'm a great fan of the old phone camera. Into the digital darkroom where we can play and create and do all sorts of wonderful things, and then finally connecting with community. So you'll be getting free access to that. And you'll also be getting free access to my ultimate travel guide, which takes you all the way through from making travel plans right around Australia, through all the states, all the best places for nature, nature connection, nature photography, and it's actually designed for people with any form of creativity in mind. It could be art, writing. It's designed to inspire. And Capturing the Essence, this central, is a very detailed, fairly new handbook on photographing every element of Australia, from people, places, right through all the different animal groups. So there we go. And do visit my site, and do visit the Kangaroo Day site and have a look at all of the entries. And you can visit me on steveparishnatureconnect.com. Do visit me on Facebook. I post on my profile page and also my page, my Nature Connect page, every single day of the week. And you'll find lots of tips and connections in that space. So I hope you enjoyed the overview to the World Kangaroo Day Photographic Competition 2022.